What's crackling, everybody? Welcome back once again to the definitive cereal tier list. For each episode, we take a cereal, put it on the tier list, so you know how good it is. I'm your host, Tucker. In this episode, we're doing All-Bran Original. There's a few points of comparison to make with this. First off, All-Bran, bran, so Raisin Bran, of course, similar sort of base for the piece. All those have gotten E's. That's more for the raisin than for the bran itself. The bran, I think, is fine, not my favorite sort of base piece flavor, but I don't know, it's okay. And then second off, if you look at the actual piece itself, it looks to be those little thin sort of log twig things, which have not been my favorite. There's the Fiber One had that, and that was a D, and some of the like lower kashi had that as well. Like there was one that there was a piece like this, but then there was a couple other piece types in there. So that helped a bit, but like with Fiber One, this is just all this piece. So not strong starting points for this one, but maybe it'll surprise me. Let's just get into it. Smells like if you go to like a fair and they have an area where there's just like hay on the ground. That's what this reminds me of. Okay. This looks to be different texture from other versions of this type of piece. The others, I remember being a bit smoother and like a little more rounded. These ones are pretty square-like. So that's interesting. And they seem, I don't know, like they'd be crunchier almost. Curious. All right. So I don't think they are crunchier. These actually might be less crunchy than the other versions of this. Piece wise, pretty much like all the other brand stuff. Like it's fine. I mentioned it not having a lot of crunch, and that is obviously holding true while it's been in the milk. There are some dry pieces still that it's a bit more like brittle and crunchy. So that's, another thing that's fine about it. But it's definitely a cereal that you do chew a lot. So it's one of those, not crunchy, but you gotta do a lot of chewing. So it's not making fantastic impression. Most of the pieces are gone, and there's just some flakes of bran in the milk. So let's give it a taste. Okay, yeah, that's just kind of bran milk. Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's fine, I guess. Not something I'm like excited for. I was hoping I would get here and I could say All-Bran is all right, but that's not the case. So, not a surprise, but I wasn't super into this. It's not really my style. Again, I think bran is kind of lower down for me when it comes to the base for a cereal piece. So that didn't change my mind here. And the piece itself, like I mentioned, you almost get some like brittle crunch at the beginning with the really dry pieces, but that goes away pretty quickly, and by the end it's a little mushy, and the whole time it's just something you have to really chew a lot. So that didn't work out super well for it either. The milk, again, it's just kind of bran milk, which is fine, I guess, but it's still not really a flavor I love. And with this one, it seemed like the pieces like disintegrated a little bit because there was a lot of bran particles in there. So that kind of made the milk a little weird, like texture-wise too. Which, yes, that does happen sometimes with like sugar and stuff, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to it there, and I was not expecting it to be bran. So what I'm gonna do is give All-Bran Original an E. I thought about giving this a D because if you look at the individual parts, more or less each one is just fine. But I think when you put them together, instead of like boosting each other up, it kind of makes it all just kind of a little more meh and get down to that E. Like, I think like Fiber One was similar to this. I think that worked a tiny bit better. Still not something I would like, love to eat all the time, but I think this does drop a bit below that. Like I don't know, something about this, despite each part again being fine, it just overall that doesn't seem accurate. So falls down to that E. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. In the comments below, post your general thoughts. Let me know if you've had All-Bran Original and what you thought about it. If you've had it, you're probably someone who is a fan of bran cereals, so you can let me know if I'm just being unfair to this and if this is actually something you really enjoy. Or if, like me, you just kind of have tried it and then, no, wasn't for you, didn't pick it up again. You could also agree with me and say, no, this is not a great sort of base for a lot of cereal. But until next time, stay delicious.